What's up and welcome back to Bold TV. Now, let's learn about some LinkedIn with the Vice President of Sales Solutions, Alyssa Merwin. Welcome, Alyssa.
Hey, Philip. Thanks for having me.
I am excited to have you. Now, I want to jump right into it. If someone who just started their LinkedIn account, what advice would you give to someone like that?
So they just set up their profile. A couple quick things. Number one, make sure you have a professional headshot.
Okay.
People are 9 times more likely to be engaged on the platform if they have a picture. So let's have something that looks in the professional realm.
Okay.
Number two is know what you're there for. Who's your audience? So if you're an entrepreneur looking to share with the world about your business, or if you're on the platform to do some business development, or perhaps you're looking to find a job, those are all very different reasons to be on LinkedIn, and they're all totally appropriate. But make sure you understand who are you creating your profile for, and each of those has a different audience that you might want to appeal to. And so the way that you talk about your experience and what you can offer to the people on LinkedIn will really change depending on what your answer is to that question. So be really clear about what you're there to do, and then third, build out your profile appropriately. So those are my quick tips for somebody who's new to the platform.
There's a main thing. Figure out what you're actually there for. Now, with these different socially connected platforms, social media as they call them, but socially connected platforms, I like to use that term because it connects people from all over. They evolve and form over time with different purposes. It may not be what it was initially that people are using it for now. What's the best way LinkedIn can help you further your career? And is that still the best way to utilize LinkedIn?
Well, it's a great reason to utilize the platform. LinkedIn is all about building professional connections and relationships. So if, again, if you're looking to research a company, if you want to get a foot in the door and find out, who do you know that might already work there, and get the inside scoop on, how to make sure that your resume gets to the right person, or that you can get the right interview prep, finding out, who in your network can make those introductions can really be a game changer. And also, I think just great for the sort of virtual, let's say informal informational interview or coffee date these days. So maybe you're just exploring a new industry and you want to tap somebody who, is in a business or a company or a function that you want to learn more about, and reach out to them and ask if they'd be open for, an informal chat just to learn a little bit more. I think those are all great reasons and ways to reach out to people on LinkedIn.
And you mentioned on something very important and critical, is that the idea is to reach out and build genuine connections. You see a lot of times on LinkedIn, people are using it just to hit up people cold without forming that connection first. For me personally, is one of the things that I saw, and I wasn't really at first relatively new to LinkedIn, didn't understand the etiquette. So I just said, is this how it works? But fast forward, I realized, this is not good business practice. Is that one of the common mistakes? And what are some other mistakes that people typically make on LinkedIn?
Yeah, you nailed it. So, just like in real life, you wouldn't cold call someone and expect to get a great response. The same thing is happening, especially as we're all virtual and in our own home offices, whatever that looks like today. We've got to warm people up and see if they're open, right? And so I think a couple of tips or things that I would encourage people not to do. One is the cold outreach with no context, and the second one, and gosh, this one is like just something that we've got to really get better at, is not having generic outreach. The number of people that are reaching out with something that's not personalized, that isn't relevant, that creates a bad experience for everyone. And so I have 2 tips for people. It's one, make sure that you're warming up the relationship. So you can post, react to someone's posts or comments, and that's a great way to get interaction and a 2-way dialogue. And if you see that someone's engaging with you that you're really interested in connecting with, it's a nice, easy, soft entry. The second is a warm introduction. So if I'm trying to get in touch with you, Philip, and I see that we've got somebody in common, if I ask for a warm introduction, I'm 5 times more likely to get you to engage with me through that warm introduction than if I were to reach out cold and directly. And then third is just do your due diligence, just like we prepare for a business meeting or any other important conversation. Find out who this person is, what they care about, what are they talking about on any of the social platforms. And when you engage, when you comment, when you reach out, make sure it's tailored to exactly what you've been able to glean about them and what you think they'll care about.
I think that's such an excellent point that people really don't think about. I have never thought about it because you think about it outside of LinkedIn, warm intros, obviously. Hey, I'd love to connect you with this and that. You guys should connect. And it facilitates a conversation. It's really the essence of how, connections form. And it's such an obvious hack, if you will, on LinkedIn to see who's someone in common. I love that piece of advice. Now, what have you seen in 2020 just from on a high level in terms of now with the world connecting virtually? And do you think that will carry over into 2021? What are some trends that you're seeing in terms of LinkedIn, how the platform is going to operate and help people?
Sure. So I think there are a couple of really important trends that we all need to be aware of. So one, the world has moved to the secular shift to virtual everything, and certainly virtual selling. We just completed a state of sales report earlier this year, and there were some really interesting insights that came out of it. Number one, we're seeing a 60% increase in the rise of cold outreach and emails, and we're seeing a 30% decrease in executives responding. So you've got this inverse of, more outreach, and I would characterize that generally as noise that executives are less likely to respond to. So you've got to do those things that we just talked about a minute ago, right? Which is personal, tailored, get those warm introductions. And the other thing is we know that buyers today and executives expect their experience with us, whether we're in a sales capacity or business development, whatever role we're playing, to be really relevant and tailored. And we need it to be trustworthy, especially in a world where everything's virtual and we can't break bread together. We can't, do the handshake and sit down across the table from someone. And so what we saw in the state of sales report is that trust, we always know that trust is important in a business relationship, but it is becoming even more critical. And one of the things that we learned is that, there's a lot of ways to build trust. And one of the most important is making sure that someone feels like you've got great active listening. Right. You are hearing them and you're responding to their needs and trying to solve their problems, not trying to push your solution or, get your way. And so we've got to do a better job of when we're engaging and when we get that opportunity to connect, to make sure they really understand that we hear them, we're responding, and we're using that as a way to build trust. So those are, I think, some of the things that we're absolutely seeing, and they're going to continue beyond 2020.
I have to say, Alyssa, this is some of the most compact, succinct, valuable brilliance that I've heard in an interview. This is so super valuable, some amazing insights. Thank you so much for that, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Philip. It's been a pleasure.
All right, you got it. And thank you all, of course, out there for watching. And make sure you now, drumroll, follow Bold TV on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and, of course, YouTube. Have a great day, and I'm out of here.